Well, welcome. And tonight on Make Some Noise, we have some awesome females from all different aspects of the business, and we're going to be learning lots and lots tonight. So before we get started, please make some noise and also make sure you like and subscribe down here for those who are watching on YouTube. And I'm going to use my banner for the first time before I get started. So that's the name of the show, Make Some Noise. So if you have any questions, this is completely interactive. Make sure that you please type them. And tell me where you're listening from, because I'd love to know, because we've had listeners from New York and England. We had our first French listener. I don't know what happened there. It might have been an accident. However, and we've got listeners all over the Australia. And tonight we have a guest from New Zealand, actually in New Zealand right now. So here we go. We're bringing the guests in. Here we go. Hey, Tara, here you go.
Hey.
And here we go. Two more. And so welcome, ladies. We're going to be sharing lots of content here. If anyone's cross-monitoring, just make sure you've phones turned down. So maybe first off, Tara, if you want to run your intro of who you are, what you do and where you do it. Here we go.
My name is Tara Hart. I am based on the Gold Coast. I'm an artist manager to Harry J. Hart, and I run the Emerging Musician, which at this point is a networking and informational resource for, as the name suggests, emerging musicians.
Wow. Awesome. Well, welcome to tonight. Welcome. And next, Linnell, do you want to do those couple of questions?
Hi, Doug. So I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. I run my own music company called Leighton Music Productions, and I produce some tribute shows, and I also work with solos in my own sort of solo duo band kind of thing. I have a country show, but my best production that I'm proud of is ABBA Live, which has been going for about 18 years now.
Oh, wow. Oh, what? Well, and I've told everyone to turn the phone down, and what you think I just did? I had the phone up. Okay, maybe next we might go to Sarah. So here we go, Sarah. There we go.
G'day, Doug. G'day, ladies. How are you? All the way from Waihi in New Zealand. I'm a singer-songwriter. Have been doing it for about 30 years and have got a home studio, played in all sorts of places, continue to sing and write and record from home. I have two lovely boys and I run a barbershop of all things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's cool. All right. And we have, here we go here. And Magellan, here we go.
Hey.
How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm Magellan. And I'm a guitarist. I studied jazz guitar at uni, but these days I'm a percussive guitarist, so I smash my fingers on it a lot instead of actually playing like intricate stuff. I've gone caveman style. But I'm a guitarist and a singer, and myself and my partner have just opened up a music studio on Burleigh Heads on the Gold Coast. And so I'm a producer as well, so I produce all my stuff from the studio and other people's. And we're starting the venue side of things once Corona disappears. So we're just waiting for people to be allowed to party again. And then we'll be like, woo! So yeah, it's cool.
Well, welcome. And next we have Veronica. How are you? Welcome.
Hi. As you know, I'm Veronica, and I moved to Brisbane in 2018 to be closer to my family and to make Australia my home. Since then, I opened up a business called Martin Singing and Music Studio in Manly West.
Oh, very good. And welcome. So thank you for all coming along. So maybe the first round of questions, and we've even got we already have some people talking. Say hello, Jake. How you going, Jake? Jake said, and we got a listener from Tasmania. Wow, there you go. So how you going, Nicola? That's amazing. So for everyone else that's listening, please make sure you share their broadcast. That would be amazing, because I'm trying to multitask, and clearly I need way more than just my cup of tea to be able to multitask. So maybe Tara, so what about some of the accolades, maybe straight off the first cab off the rank? What's the biggest accolade that you've done so far or been involved with?
I was a finalist in the Industry Observer Awards 2018, and that was as Guardian of the Year. So my artist is also my son, and wow. I was really fortunate to be in a position where I was alongside people like, well, it was Ruel's dad that won. So,
Oh, wow.
you know, it was a pretty amazing achievement when all of these other young musicians were all at very much no less than a national, but definitely international standard. And then there was us just doing our local thing, and obviously we're doing it well. So that was very rewarding.
Very good, and that's awesome. And Linnell, because I know you've been involved with a couple of things that have, even gone international as well, as we discussed before.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, my daughter just came in, so I just missed the last 2 minutes of your conversation. So you have to fill me in a little bit. This is Jess. Sorry, she went for a walk and I locked her out. And I could hear her knocking on the front door. And then I was like, do I go or do I just let? So she found a way into the house. But I'm sorry, can you ask me the question?
You had your daughter locked outside.
Yeah, she went for a walk and I forgot that she didn't take a key, so I locked the door and I could hear her knocking and I'm like, no, she'll find a way into the house. She'll be okay. Sorry about that.
Well, just before I ask the question, we have someone from, hey, Gene, he's listening from Western Australia. How you going? Oh, wow, coast to coast, Tassie, I'm in Brisbane, and we have Luca. How you going, sir? I think he's in Italy, I think.
Oh, wow.
I think. So so the question is, your biggest accolade. What's the biggest claim to fame? You can name drop. I made up a new gesture. So please.
I guess it's just over the years. When I was really when I was in my 20s, I worked with a 12-voice jazz vocal group, and we did a lot of corporate functions then when Christopher Skase was around, if you remember him.
In the 90s?
Yeah. So we got to do some shows with Wickety Whack, and we did a support for John Farnham, who came and did a corporate with us, and that was exciting. But for me, I've always been a big lover of country music, and I worked with John McSweeney for about 10 years. And so during that time, we got to work with some people like Lee Conway and Chad Morgan and some they would come along as a guest artist and we would be their backing band because I play keyboards as well. Piano is actually my main instrument. So, so I used to work with the house band at a venue that John worked at, and we used to get some really great artists through there. So that was really exciting.
So, and in your ABBA tribute, what was the person you played?
Oh, I played Anna. So that's me. I keep getting that's me with the purple head. And there it is. So, and I played that role since it started in 2003, and I've just hung up my boots this year and replaced myself with a younger model, so to speak. That's the good thing about ABBA Live is we can, the show keeps going, and so now I'm just sort of doing the management side, and we're just in the process of going to a fully live 7-piece. So I'm going to be up the back with the band playing keyboards and doing some backing vocals and merchandise and the breaks and all that sort of stuff. So
that's amazing. And what about Sarah? What's your biggest accolade of name dropping? Being from New Zealand.
Listening to everybody else's accolades. Well, I left New Zealand when I was 15 and moved to San Francisco. And my brother and I were over there. We played in blues clubs and met a lot of amazing people. And one of my biggest accolades was I met John Lee Hooker and became friends with him and recorded on 3 occasions with him and opened up for him a few times.
That's amazing.
And then I came back to New Zealand. We released a few albums over there, but then I came back to New Zealand and had babies. And then I released another album called Colours. And then I got into X Factor New Zealand and got in the top 10. So I did pretty well with that one. And I'm now signed to a record label called Renowned Sound Studios, and we are focusing on bringing back the songs that I had recorded 30 years ago, and 2 of them are with John Lee Hooker, so we're working on that at the moment. My main thing at the moment, my 2 boys, they're 16 and 18, are barbers, and we've opened this really cool barber shop called Mad Cuts in Waihi. So I've been doing that, because you got to support your kids somehow, and now they're supporting me. So I've got some time to actually do some music.
That's amazing. And John Lee Hooker, that's a serious name to drop. Because wasn't he on? Did he actually make a cameo in the Blues Brothers? Was that John Lee Hooker?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Spielberg
ZZ Top.
cameo as well, right at the top. Wow. Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I think
Lovely
that's a
guy.
serious name drop so far. And Magellan, what about your career about name dropping? Who have you worked with so far? And what have you been up?
I got to, I guess the first one that comes to mind is I played guitar at the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
I played with Katie
Wow.
Noonan.
Wow.
That was fun. Played with Katie Noonan at the Queensland Live Music Awards and a few other cool people. And yeah, I've toured around the States and through England and Southeast Asia, and I played in New Zealand a little bit, and I guess a bunch of other random stuff. But a lot of the touring I've done, I just did as a guitarist, but it's really cool. The last few years I've just done my own thing, which is like challenging in a whole nother way, because I guess before I was just like, I just show up and play a gig, whereas now I'm like my own manager and my own like PR person and my own like everything, and now the like record label thing. Actually, that's the latest one. The fact that I've now actually got my own studio and I can, because before I produced my own EP while I was backpacking. So I just took like a MIDI keyboard and a laptop and I had my guitar, and I did everything while I was on the road. And then I came back to Australia and hired a studio just to do the last couple of bits with the vocals and the guitar part, because I needed like a quiet room. But now I can do it all myself, so it's great.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And welcome. And Veronica.
Thank you.
Veronica, over to
Yeah.
Veronica. What?
Yeah.
Because you're slightly different in it, as in you write like thematic movie-based music, right? You're a composer.
Yes.
So-
Yes. I've done a lot in my life. My background in brief is that I have 2 licentiates behind my name. One of them is from Trinity College, London, and the other is from St. Cecilia School of Music, Australia. And I believe it's based in Tasmania, the school. I'm currently working towards a license in composing. Yes. And what I'm also, I started composing when I was 6, and I never stopped composing, anyway, I arrange music of songs that I sing, and over the years, I also arranged music for other musicians and all that. I do not write lyrics, I just write music. Yep. I like to consider myself more like a creator of music, like tunes and chords and things like that. I'm not actual songwriter. Although I wouldn't mind collaborating with anyone that wants to, I'm open to it. If anyone's interested, I'd love to work with you.
Yeah, I'd be keen.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to. I can carry on, but anyway, I started performing at the age of 9, and was a member of many country clubs. Because I'm actually a trained singer. I've a professionally trained singer, and many musicians in those clubs. Well, they provided me with let's say, know-how. They gave me the opportunity to perform and gain experience and all that.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, and then I also was a member of other things too.
Yeah, right. Well, welcome. So I guess post-COVID, because I guess in Australia, I'm not sure what's happening in New Zealand there, Sarah. Is New Zealand already open? You're back to level or 0 level?
We're in level 1. However, a couple of women came back from the UK that were New Zealanders, and they were supposed to be in isolation, but there was a funeral they went to, and they drove from the top of the North Island to the bottom.
Wow.
They turned out to be positive. So we're back to kind of hopefully not square one. People are angry that the government didn't, or whoever was looking after them, didn't test them properly before they left.
Oh no,
it's a shame. But someone dies, you want to go to the funeral. Probably felt sorry for them and just made a big mistake.
Yeah, right. Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So post-COVID, well, during COVID, as artists, did that really help refine? Maybe Tara, if you want to go first, has that really like helped you look at something different, the music industry differently?
Yeah, so for Harry, a lot of his work is covers work, and having that break away from the daily grind, for want of a better word, of
Right.
performing those covers. I think it's fair to say that having that time to concentrate on just his own music has certainly,
Helped.
helped a lot. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what has he actually like made some new recordings, or actually got refined the process of writing?
Very much process enhancement, but also he's been able to spend time in the studio recording. And what else has he done? Oh yeah, so he's just and also looking at the way, because Harry's always done live streams on his pages, but pre-COVID, it was completely acceptable to just get a phone, stick it up, turn the selfie camera on, and just do this really, rudimentary just engagement with your audience. Then COVID came along and it upped the ante, and all of a sudden it became a home concert and a performance, and and all of a sudden you needed to set all your gear up as though it was a proper show, and and people were running through computers and multiple cameras, and and it's in a case of exactly what you're doing. So all of that stuff has changed, changed the way it all works as well. And I think the other thing in relation to, because he was doing lives before, for him, he's definitely noticed that the engagement is nowhere near what it was previously, because the market is essentially saturated. And like there are people that are just going on all day repeatedly with a live and then another live, and then there are other people that are doing it every day, and then there's people that are doing it once a week or every couple of weeks, and so it's working out where you fit in that crowd, and what your audience want, and that attention span of a gnat thing, I think, comes in when there's so much to choose from.
Because we're competing with Big Brother, right? So well, in Australia that is anyway. Well, that's good. And what about Linnell? How has COVID influenced doing R&D on what you're doing in the music industry?
Yeah, look, as far as the ABBA show is concerned, we were taking a 6-month break anyway to reform and rehearse and put together a new show. So if COVID was going to hit at some point, it kind of suited me quite well when it did hit. We'd just broken into the cruise ship industry. So we stepped off a cruise ship on the 16th of March. And we stepped back into Australia, and then I lost all my work in like 2 days. So that was hard. It was a cruise for Royal Caribbean, and we were they put on a cruise for the firefighters and their families. So we sort of just did a loop out of Sydney and for 4 days, and we didn't go into international waters, which was lucky, because when we were on the cruise was when they banned all cruise ships from international waters. So if that had happened to us, we wouldn't have been able to get back home. So it was that close. We were sitting at the airport at Qantas in Sydney and just hearing one flight after another get cancelled, and I was going, just let our flight go through. So
it's like Russian roulette.
Yeah, it was like that. And so then when we actually got back to Brisbane, I just one after another, all my gigs just disappeared with no sort of recourse. So that was pretty hard. I teach classical piano and guitar as well, because piano is my first instrument. So I actually went through the conservatorium with Greg Andrew, who was on your show.
Oh, yeah.
Does the Elton show? Yeah. So he and I we went through the same course, Diploma of Music, and I did classical piano. He was doing music technology. He's the first guy I met on orientation day, and we sort of have been really good friends ever since then. So, the teaching has carried me through, as well as JobKeeper. And in all honesty, I've actually really loved the break, because I've been performing every week for the past 30 3 years, and my voice is in better shape than it's ever been. My voice, my vocal needed a rest as well, and I've been baking and gardening and doing stuff that you would normally do if you live in the country and have a lot of time. And it's just nice. To be honest, I feel like I've retired, and I know this sounds awful, but I'm actually in no rush to go back to work because I'm just loving it. Loving spending time with my friends and my family, and my parents, they're having some health issues. So I've been able to be with them and run them around to appointments and stuff. And, I was in the garden today. So yeah, just doing some leisure stuff. And sort of, when it first hit, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a live feed every week. And, I'm going to do that and keep in touch with my audience. I did it for 1 week. And after that, I was just kind of like, you know what, we'll just come back with a bang in 6 months. And that'll be, I know that sounds really lazy, but yeah, so like I'm enjoying my sleep-ins and binging on Netflix and going for walks with my daughter and stuff like that. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at.
I think there's a lot to be said for the musician, because a musician actually works when everyone else is relaxing. It's a polar opposite shift of awareness, just similar to hospitality. When everyone else, finished corporate world in day gig mode, it's time for all the musicians to do their thing. But it's interesting what you said about going to the con. I actually got a jazz degree as well, so I can.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was really some adjustment when it first hit, and like having my weekends free for the first time in 30 years was so weird. I was just like
30 years. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, and now if like when they get taken away from me, I think I'm going to be really cranky, because it's just so nice. Just putting your feet up, especially winter, you curl up with a book and cook. Like my daughter,
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And like my daughter has said to me, Mum, like, can you teach me how to cook? So we've been, doing cooking lessons and stuff. And it's been really nice, actually, really nice.
Oh, very good. Very good. And Sarah, how does it, this COVID situation, has that enhanced any artistic output?
We'll get lost inside the bubble. We all get to choose. That was the first song I wrote, called The Bubble.
Oh, excellent.
And the funny thing is that I went for a big, long walk, and I was climbing up this big mountain, and for the barbershop, TV1 had come and done an interview with the boys because they're so young. Anyway,
it's your phone speaking. You have a new message.
Is that your message?
Come on, it's.
I thought we had a new artist joining us. I thought, that's funny. God.
Oh wow! I've just put Veronica on mute. I'll unmute her very shortly. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, as I was saying.
So anyway, TV1 rang me up and said, look, we want to come and check in with the boys and see how you guys are doing over COVID lockdown. Yeah. And so here we were. I was all sweaty, my sweatpants and everything, live on national television. And they're like, what have you done musically? I wrote the song The Bubble. You want to play it for us? So I was playing it over the fence to TV1. And, and the boys got interviewed. It's just like there was no escape. Really? So I was kind of like, who does that? Weird. So that was pretty exciting. But for me, I just really delved into my artistic creative side, got no interruptions whatsoever. And it was just such a great time to get focused within and find the artist again and find a bit more love for my original music. Because like the other ladies, you just get thrashed. You get thrashed and you kind of lose yourself in the process, and it was just really good reflection time for me, not only as a mother but as an artist and as a songwriter. So my band and we just collaborated. We all laid down our parts at home, and my keyboard player Liam Ryan, who's lives in Waihi as well, he just mixed the songs for us, and there's an online mastering thing you can do, and it was just all online, and we just started releasing tracks. They sound funky as, and it's just like, you guys have a beer, have a joint, whatever you're going to do, just relax, lay your parts down, and just go with the flow. And that's what they did, and the songs came out amazing. So I've just had so much fun. I did not want to leave my bubble. I did not want to.
Yeah, I think the thing is too, like, it's just being able to have time to do those things that we've said for years, like, oh, I've got to do that to the house, or I've got to do that. I can't, I'm too busy. Like for me, even having the time to cook dinner every night has just been like, oh my God, I can't believe that I, get takeaway 2 nights a week, or, I'm too tired to cook or whatever. Like just having the time to do that stuff.
I mean, I painted
I like
my
that.
kitchen. I painted because I got an old villa. I painted my kitchen and the
That's
ceiling,
cool.
ripped up some
wow.
tiles in the kitchen. It was just like, I just had all this
I've actually
time.
made a roast for the first time in my life.
Roast. First time. Are you kidding me?
First time, yeah. Roast
Was
chicken.
Was it chicken? I was going to say, was it pork with like the crackling and everything? But
no, I'm not. I haven't graduated to that yet. Just
okay.
So
Well,
if we go,
Veggie garden.
just come over if you want to cook a lesson.
Maybe.
yeah, well, I might be next to the lessons. Yeah. So Magellan, so how did COVID actually, because I guess we're looking down the barrel of it finishing soon. I really, really hope so. But yeah, has it? Obviously, you've got a lot going on. You actually released a new situation this week, didn't you?
Did I?
Just with doing a new business.
I can't remember. Yes. Oh, so I got there's a podcast that we do.
Right, cool.
So that's right. That's what I did. But I
read what gets sent to me. All right, cool.
Yeah, you do. You're on it. You're more than I am. But I think for me it was like a massive shock at first because I had all these gigs booked and it was like, oh wait, okay, like I'm now unemployed. This is fun. And I mean, it was fun because I just started going to the beach a lot, which is great at first. And then I was like, okay, actually, hang on. I need to be productive now. So like the record label thing and the music studio thing and the recording studio and the venue, like I've thought that would be like years in the future, but it happened in a month. And so I've been very, 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 very busy. I've slept very little, but I'm like fully ready to go. Like as soon as Corona's out of the way, I'm like, woo! So but and it's also kind of cool because I have realized that there's so many people around, especially around the Gold Coast and Brisbane, even to the Sunshine Coast and Byron scene, that have had nothing on now. So it's really cool to just like use this time and what I've now got, like this new platform that I have to sort of help people to like put their stuff out there again. So that's why the podcast is a thing, because we're just like inviting people on to have a chat and share what they do with the world and like have some content to put on social media, because we're all just like, yes, I'm not doing anything. I'm not playing any gigs. So I'm not going to post at all, but yeah, like, I don't know. There's still people creating stuff, and it's cool to be able to now have this bigger platform than just as a solo artist thing to share what other people are doing too. Because there's a really cool creative community that, like, I don't know, I'm a part of it. So why not, like,
share alike. Yeah.
Bring people
I
back together again.
I really like that. I mean, hence why this is happening, right? So, keep scratching each other's back because, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So if we go over to Veronica, so are you there? How's your phone?
Yeah.
Was your phone okay?
I threw it away.
You threw it away. Oh, right.
That's what you do when that's what you do when it rings.
Yeah. I'm glad it identifies itself like, hello, this is your phone ringing. Yeah, because I'm glad it wasn't the coffee cup this time. So the so this impact, like what does that happen? What does that happen? I can't even speak my question now. So how has this time off affected you or what you do, or has it not really?
Well, I'm practically new to New Zealand, so I'm on semi-holiday mode as it is. What I did mainly, what I'm doing right now is just spending time with my family, studying, practicing my keyboard. Working my little business, as you know. I've started a little business, as I mentioned, and just basically doing that.
And what about musically? Have you writing your tunes? Because I know you do like.
Yes. I'm actually currently trying to write a piano tune.
Yep.
Slow, but it's like a fantasia.
Okay.
When it's finished, hopefully, I will post it on Facebook so everyone can hear.
Yeah.
I hope it's soon. I'm still learning how to put it together, and that's one of my. And I'm learning to actually write piano music. It's a little bit different from So yeah,
like
Pardon?
Like an etude, or etude. I don't know how to say it. The etude. Etude. Wrong vowel. So, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. So I guess if I answer that, I guess I've been actually doing a lot of collaborating. I actually got to just send a shred video to the whole Steve Vai situation. Got a guy in Hawaii did a collaboration, so I did a little shred thing for that, and got to do my own thing as well, featuring this little koala, Rockstar koala, and I think actually focusing more on the original side. But I guess once you make a record, so the next thing I was going to ask you is that once you make a record, that's only the beginning, because I know, Tara, you've got some new material being released very shortly.
Yep.
And I'd like to maybe ask you all, from the business side of it, what's been the most maybe rewarding side of actually the business? So is it marketing on Facebook? Is it just doing gigs face to face? What is the strongest, leg of marketing that works for you? So maybe Tara?
So you're not referring to just at the moment with COVID, you're just talking about music industry?
Just full stop. Yeah.
Yep. I find it very exciting when a post, or in relation to the socials, it's very exciting when a post just does stuff that you never saw coming, and you wake up in the morning and go, wow, there's this many more people have liked it or have subscribed to the page, and that there's this whole world that you go to sleep and there's this whole thing going on the other side of the world or somewhere, and you can just wake up to whole new audiences that you didn't even know were there. That's pretty cool. But something that this is an aside and a totally unrelated to that, but something that just popped in my mind now that I think is pretty special is so I'm on my final subject of a Master of International Music Business, and it's a mouthful, isn't it? And one of the things that the history of music, and I don't know that I truly appreciated this until I appreciated it, but today Bob Spencer from Rose Tattoo made a post about if blues musicians who are perhaps not fully appreciative of this whole Black Lives Matter movement at the moment, and the fact that without Black musicians, blues would not exist. And I think just having that opportunity to appreciate, like having knowledge and learning about different genres, I think is a really important thing that I've had the opportunity to reflect on various genres. And I'm sure all of you who have done, tertiary study in music would probably have done the same thing. And realizing that anybody that pretty much works in the contemporary music industry, whether on stage or behind the stage, we all have so much to be thankful for all of the hardships and adversities that they experienced. And it really gave a very global perspective to our little industry for me, and it made it part of the big picture. And that was something that for me, it was just a realization today that, it is a very special, we are not this little, bubble of the arts, it is so much more than that. And that's just a complete aside, but that's something that for me has been really poignant, and it occurred today for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. And what
that
about
was my epiphany?
Your epiphany? Okay. And what's been the strongest marketing tool for?
Marketing tool?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we went over to Nashville and attended the CD Baby DIY Musicians Conference.
Wow.
Whilst we were over there, I listened to a guy, Rick Barker, who used to manage Taylor Swift. And he's got a marketing strategy in relation to socials that we've just recently applied. And it's really interesting to watch it grow and see how that has how narrowing your focus on your
niche
and finding your niche, knowing your audience, and looking at your audience beyond that. Okay, so they like this kind of music, knowing that the people like this kind of music probably like these kind of cars, or they like this kind of activity as well, and and understanding.
It's called profiling.
And that
like
far-reaching effect. That I'd say is the most effective and successful thing that getting that better understanding of your audience. And when you better understand them, then you'll know how to better post to them as well and talk to them and engage.
Okay, that's good. That's really, really good. And what about Linnell? So with all your business endeavors with music, what's been the most effective marketing strategy that you've employed?
I would definitely say for engaging with the audience, it would be Facebook. So my ABBA Live Facebook page is that's where we get, putting up the events and that sort of thing. That's where we engage with our market. And someone told me the other day, I think it was one of my daughter's friends, they said, well, Facebook is for old people. So that works for me just fine because
When did that happen?
I don't know.
That's why you lock her out the house.
Well, for me, Facebook makes perfect sense because it does everything that all the other ones do kind of wrapped into one. So, but yeah, so as far as that's concerned, because a lot of the audience that we get for ABBA are people sort of between 30 and 100, really. That's our main demographic, I'd say would be around the 40-50 age group. So that works really well. I tried Instagram for a while. I had a band member who was like, you got to do Instagram. I just don't get it. I don't see the point. Sorry if any of you others, sorry if anyone loves Instagram. As far as a marketing point of view for agents and venues that want to book us, I would say the website is really effective and YouTube clips. So, they basically want to see what they're getting. Same thing like with the cruise lines. They just want 3 minutes of raw footage and, don't edit it up. Don't put any little captions or anything. Just show them what it is. So, yeah, from a promotional point of view to get bookings, I would say our promo video that's on YouTube has been the most effective. But I think there's a lot in that phrase saying that you're only as good as your last gig. Because for me, I know you can do all the most fabulous marketing in the world and get one gig, but if you're crappy in that gig, even your drunkest patron will see it and understand that I'm not spending another $30 to go and see them again. So, with the show, for me, it's about keeping the quality there, keeping a quality of musicians, staying true to the music, making sure that when you're on stage, you cater for everybody. I'm always saying to my band members, just be really careful with your borderline humor because you might offend someone and then they won't want to come back. So I'm like, keep the show sort of PG, stay true to the act that you're paying tribute to, or, and just look after the people who come to see you because, if without them, we don't work. So even with my solo gigs, I do a lot of morning melodies and daytime gigs and, wow. The ladies that come along to do the line dancing, if they request a song, I'll go, right, I'll learn that song for next time. It's just looking after your
customer
fans
service.
and your patrons. And just I love those people that I see during the day at those gigs because it's just like having, 100 more parents. And they're just so beautiful. And just to, if you just take the time to even just sit down with them and have a cup of tea or something like that after the gig, clear that hour when instead of packing up and rushing out the door, sit down and have lunch with them or whatever. To me, that personal touch is really effective as well, I think.
And I think exactly what you're saying about personal engagement. I've gone to some marketing things about Facebook, and that's what they say, right? That's what Messenger is about, personal engagement. Yeah. Personal. Yeah. But you're doing it in real life, right? Which,
Yeah. And the thing, for me, it's also to keep a show, like the longevity of a show is really important, to listen to your band members as well and be sensitive to what they're going through in their lives. So like 10 years ago, I had a lineup with ABBA Live where we were all single and we were able to tour. So we were, except for me, I was married at the time, but it worked. It just worked really, really well. So we had a manager at the time who had a lot of venues in New South Wales, and we were away every second weekend touring, and it was fantastic. But then we, as time changed, we had, like, for the last 5 years, for example, my lineup have all been older with families and full-time jobs, so we haven't been able to tour as much. So that's, like, as far as the longevity of a show is concerned, I think it's important also to be sort of sensitive to the people that you're working with. And now we're in a season where we're I want to travel more. My daughter's growing up, and we're, like I said, we just got onto the cruise ships, which I've been dying to do, just to combine music and travel, and and just to keep the show sort of moving into that next phase, I suppose.
Very good. And hi, Anne-Marie, how you going? And there's some awesome concepts there. And Sarah, I guess with name dropping John Lee Hooker, so wow. Do you need any marketing tools besides that?
Well, you do. And marketing's not my strong point, I have to say. I like to focus on the music. So I've struggled with the new age digital. Not only am I kind of blind, but it's really hard to see things when you're typing and everything. It's quite difficult. Makes life really hard. But I agree with You're Only As Good As Your Last Gig. Absolutely. With Lindley there, because that's basically how I get my gigs, is all word of mouth. I actually don't and haven't put myself out there like I should have. I think because my family's been my focus up till now, raising 2 boys on my own. So it's just been about getting through and taking the gigs when I can take the gigs, but focus on bringing them up. But now they're a bit older, and I've got a really, really good record kind of structured deal where I focus on marketing. I'm going to have to, sink my teeth into some really good marketing tools. But Facebook, obviously, it's a fine line with the whole personal, professional. How much personal do you give away on your Facebook page? I find that quite a struggle, because I got over 5,000 friends on there, and none of them, most of them you don't know. And then you have your music page as well, so that's strictly professional. But I find I get a lot of gigs through my personal page as well, from people that I've met along the way. So you want to keep them updated on your musical, but also you want to engage with the real life stuff that's happening in your world. And
so in New Zealand, like, how many people are you playing to regularly doing your gigs in New Zealand?
Oh, look, the gigs vary. So some really intimate shows, some larger, some festival. And I have the luxury to be able to pick and choose what gigs I want to do, and right down to, like, I think I'll just do Sunday afternoons because I can go to bed early, and maybe I'll get a free lunch as well. And I like to go to bed early, and I don't like staying up late anymore.
What a rock star!
I know. But my focus is to want to tour.
Follow Linnell's cooking tips, yeah.
Maybe I'll start a cooking show.
I've done a couple of tours, but the next one will be a really well planned tour, and I guess I've sold lots of CDs at my gigs as well, and that's kept me going quite well. Bit of merchandise, and it's just word of mouth is my biggest marketing tool, I have to say. But that's old school. It's changing, and I'll probably change with that too.
Yeah, right. Isn't it? It's a developing space. Yeah. So over to Magellan. So with your kind of music, and how do you market? Where do you market? What's your knowledge?
I suck at it. But I think I've gotten better at Facebook over the years. I hate social media though. I'm like flat out like texting people. I'm all like, just call me, man, or like come around. I think whoever, like, I didn't even know Facebook's for old people now because I barely use it. So, no, I've just, especially through like the record label, though, it's important because you have to have a social media presence and you kind of have to be on top of that. So I'm really fortunate now that I have an amazing lady who does that for me, which is great. So I could just play guitar.
You've outsourced
Yeah.
engagement with someone running your Facebook account.
Yeah, because I suck at it. So I'm like, well, why would I do that? Like, I might as well just do it properly by getting someone else to do it for me.
And
it's got to be done. So,
is that an expensive exercise? Like you get someone to manage all your accounts?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just it. I mean, so at the minute, like there's the Magellan one, and then there's the Lion Dance Records one, and then there's a few other things too. So at the minute, with I don't know, with all the businesses going down and stuff, things are possibly a little cheaper than what they would be, but it's a little cheaper. But it's I don't know, that sort of thing I find really valuable because it's so incredibly important. Because right now, especially, like I find it a lot easier to go out and play gigs, and I find it a lot easier to meet people and kind of market that way because people actually see me. And when I play, you can't. I don't know. It's different when you see someone live to when you see someone on screen. And to actually connect with people, I much prefer to just be on stage and have a conversation because that's what my gigs tend to be. Unless you're playing like a bigger festival and there's like too many people, you can't.
What's your biggest festival then?
I've played a fair few of the folk festivals around town. They're my favorites, actually. I like the folk festivals because they're more intimate. So like you'd stand on stage in front of like a few hundred rather than the big ones.
That's cool. That's cool. But I really like your philosophy about doing what you do best.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really struggle because I want to do everything. But then I guess that's every artist, right? Because you go, oh, I got this idea, want to do it, but the time and energy it takes detracts from other things you should be doing. Yeah, I totally get it.
Like for me, it's like, well, I should be just like playing guitar and recording music, and then the more I do that, the more, but the more I just do that, then the more I can help somebody else by employing somebody else to do what they do, and then that's helping me, and it's helping me. So it becomes this big community thing all over again, and everybody wins, And I don't get just exhausted and stressed because I hate being on the computer,
Did you write that down, Sarah? Outsource.
Got a few people in line.
I might be looking at that. And so what about Veronica? Your marketing tool for the music?
By the way, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I actually have to go and head. Okay,
that's cool. Thank you for your time. No, thank you for time.
Thank you very much for having me on. And Tara and Lynelle and Sarah and Veronica, it's lovely to meet you all that I haven't met before. And Tara, it's good to see you again, even though it's on the screen. And hopefully we'll see you around the Gold Coast sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you again. Please post the show, get on there and drop all your socials on there so people can follow you follow your friend that does it, the outsourcing,
yeah, she'll go be the one. No, I do say hi to people back. But
here we go. We've got a comment for you.
She does.
It makes total sense to let someone else do your marketing. Bands have not traditionally taken on that role. Local agents are pushing the responsibility for marketing onto artists. That is true. Yeah. Wow. Might be starting a new movement there. Yeah, I'd love to outsource. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, lovely to meet you. Thank you for your time, ma'am, and we'll see you again next time.
See you. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Do you want me to kick you off from here or not? That's cool. So, Veronica, how do you market? What's your strongest platform for marketing? Or is it word of mouth?
Well, I'm kind of really like struggling at the moment about it. Mainly Facebook and Instagram. Those are the two social media platforms that I use, and mainly because I'm new to Australia, I'm starting out, so it's it's slow at the moment because I have to, I'm not established yet. I don't know many people, so basically I have to start all over again.
Yeah,
But
right.
but in Australia, but in New Zealand, it was word of mouth. And what can I just take this? Yes, I can hear myself speak. It's really hard. I can hear you guys, but I can't hear myself speak. It's really weird. Anyway, to get to the point. In New Zealand, because I taught singing and keyboards, and I had students and all that, I used to put on concerts and would charge tickets to the parents and their families. So each and every student would have their own family members and parents and, you know, the whole scenario, and friends that would come and would pay tickets to, you know, I would hire a venue and then I would get, you know, an audience that way. So how I used to do it, earning, you know, money, is that I would get little, you know, my students to be part of my shows, as well as I would sing and perform. And most of my singing is classical music, so I would have a pianist with me. So we would do, because I used to live in Invercargill, New Zealand, which is at the bottom of, you know, New Zealand, the South Island. Because of my classical singing and the contacts that I had in that, it was more word of mouth. So I would have audience coming and paying tickets to see me. And and then we also would have a food as part of the tickets. That also attracts people. You know, a ticket with food.
Putting on a concert.
I would put more on a concert than actually going to a venue and getting. You know, I wouldn't. I suppose I don't know if I call it a gig, but it's more. I put on concerts.
Yeah, right. Do you know where the Polytech is in Invercargill? Polytech. It's like a university or TAFE.
Well, there is the Polytech there. It's called Southland Institute of Technology.
Yeah, I used to teach guitar there. I used to lecture there in Invercargill. I did a little stint there, previous life. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. Cool. I don't know if it's called Polytech years ago, but now it's now called SIT.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of like it's like a mini university now.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So if we should go to I forgot to do our mug competition. So everyone that's watching, who's got the best mug? Has everyone got a mug? Actually, okay, where's my one from Jake? Here's my one from Jake. Pull out the. Hang on. So please comment who's got the best one. So if I go to mine, here we go. There you go, Tara.
Oh,
oops.
Hang on. Can you see it?
The other way.
Sorry, where am I going?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's on the MG.
Yeah, so it's
Harry's MG.
Harry
Excellent.
MG. Yep.
Okay, here we go, and we got Linnell. So
okay, the story behind this is that it's a friend of mine who's an artist she's moved to Tasmania now, Fiona Francois. If you want to check out her website, she's amazing. So she did these, she's still in the process of doing all of these. This is the Taurus one. And if you have a look at the logo, it pretty much is
self-existent. The BS is a mile away.
Yeah, so like I treated myself to this for my birthday. I bought myself a birthday present. But she does these all in coal, and these are like charcoal, drawings. So she's done that all by hand. She's amazing. But the reason this mug is significant is because she's the graphic artist that did the ABBA logo. She did that, and she used to work for Sony PlayStation, the Australian division. And then so my ex-husband and her husband worked together in the ambulance service, and her and I became really, really good friends. And so that's the story behind that.
There you go.
But I just thought that was quite fitting, really.
Very good. Okay, and over to Sarah. Here we go, Sarah.
Well, this is my COVID-19 cup.
Please don't interrupt me when I'm ignoring you. Okay, fair enough. Wow,
that's how I felt in my bubble. But
yes,
it's actually it's the only mug that I had that had writing on it. I thought I'll just use that one. Kiwi humour for you. There you go.
Okay, so Veronica, Here we go, Veronica. You get your cup. What does it say? Little Miss Princess. Oh, this is good. I didn't.
I don't know.
Lucky I didn't use mine one.
I drink out this mug, so.
And so, Veronica McCarson, we have to have a chat about the set design. There we go. And
Oh,
I think
yes.
I've got.
Yeah.
So the story about
bad.
the story about my cup is on set on a live interview. I dropped and smashed the rest of this cup, except the handle didn't break. So Jake, who's 10 years old, him and his mum and his brother came around and they gave me a new mug. So that was pretty cool. So we might maybe just do 2 more questions if that's cool with everyone. So we've spoken about some pretty cool concepts about the business side of it. So where to now? So what's on the front line now if we quickly go around, and we'll have one more and then that'll be it. So anyone who's watched, sorry, before we go first, Tara, if anyone's watching, you got any questions, please maybe ask. We can chuck a few in at the end. So here we go, Tara. So what's the next project, to conquer?
Okay, I'm juggling big time at the moment because I'm doing the marketing and PR for Harry's release.
Thank you, Veronica. Sorry, Tara.
I lost. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm doing the marketing and PR for Harry's debut CD. It's debut single, and it's the first time I've marketed a track. So
well
it's
done.
A monster learning curve, but it will all be good. It's just intense because I don't have the luxury of having databases of information and contacts, and so I'm working out who I need and what I need and trying to build it as I go. And on top of that, I'm in the final subject of my master's. So, yeah, just trying to work out how to do those 2 things at the same time. Yeah, it's going to be a big end to 2020, considering there's been a whole lot of nothing up till now.
So just unpacking what you mentioned before about profiling your, I guess I've used this language before about your super fan. So I've been to America and gone to all these master classes, and especially about marketing. So instead of having 20,000 people who really don't care, you need to narrow it down. Yeah, or if they even say start with 200, because if you get 200 super fans to spend $100, that's 20 grand, and the first part is just getting that happening, right? Because you can't get 1,000 if you don't get the first 200. But anyway,
absolutely.
What does profiling look like, or was that top secret?
It's really, actually, it's very, very fascinating because pre-COVID, it looked as though Harry's demographic was a little bit older. When I say older, possibly even 35, definitely 45 onwards, and primarily women. But then...
sorry for laughing, sorry. I actually know Harry, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, right.
But then, and that was with, and more activity was happening on Instagram than on Facebook. But then COVID came along, and the whole
change your stats.
It's turned on its head, and all of a sudden, it's mainly around the 18-year-old age group, male and female, has blown everything else out of the water, all on Facebook, which is supposedly for old people. So
technically,
I don't know.
That's one young person who said that. I'm disregarding that. So,
no,
I'm
that's
older
totally,
and experienced.
that's been the conversation in our house as well. And,
wow.
And that Facebook's had its day. Clearly, Facebook, and I wonder if it's because we are doing more of that that live and interaction, that people are coming back to Facebook that would have previously perhaps used Instagram, because we've used the two, with Instagram being for like videos and just keeping in touch, and having that ongoing, throw a bit of music out there and that side of things. But Facebook has been, you want to know where the gigs are? Head to Facebook. Gigs are on Facebook. But now there's so much else happening on Facebook that I don't know, but it certainly looks, going by his data, that Facebook is drawing the young people across.
And do you think it's only just because? Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh, yeah. But the other thing is as well, his audience during COVID has increased massively, and it's also increased, but it's increased massively internationally. Like, one of his videos has been shared over 300 times, and it's all overseas. So a large proportion of his, whereas previously it was predominantly an Australian audience, it's no longer an Australian audience primarily.
Awesome.
So whether that whole Facebook and Instagram and who uses it is relative to Australia and is different in these other countries, and so there's a number of variables that have occurred. So I can't make a blanket statement as to everything I thought I knew is out the window, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's sort of like the share markets.
Like, we went in going, okay, we know who the audience are, we know where they engage, what they do, and then all of a sudden this has come along and turned everything on its head, and it's like, okay, we've got no idea.
Wow. Fair enough.
Keeps changing.
And what about Linnell? Yeah. So Linnell, what's new for you? Cooking show? Because I want to come and get the roast lessons. So
maybe I'll do a roast pork for you. No, look, we're two from here. Look, I guess it's like, I have gigs in place at the moment, and for the next, like, we sort of get booked 6 months to a year ahead. So those gigs are still in place, and I guess it's just waiting until we can go back. And when we go back, then those gigs will be there. For me, look, I'm at a point now where I'm really balancing work and private life and what I enjoy doing, semi-retirement, I suppose. So I've yeah. So we with Aber Live, we have a transit van that we've done touring in for the past 15 years, and so I'm just in the process at the moment of turning that into a bit of a holiday vehicle, I suppose you could say. So last week I got my mechanic to rip all the seats out and I put a mattress in. Sorry guys, we're not going in the van to gigs anymore. If you're watching, you have to drive yourselves now, and they'll be so dirty. And I just threw in a mattress and an esky, and I'm just going to do some road trips and enjoy that. And yeah, I guess the thing from COVID is just learning to balance work and life. And when money's your focus and work's your focus, you live to work rather than work to live. And travel, travel is a huge passion of mine. So like, I had a trip booked to Morocco in April that got cancelled, unfortunately, because of COVID. But so I just, over the next couple of months, I really want to do some more traveling. And if I can only travel in Queensland, then I'll get in the van and go where the wind takes me and see this beautiful country of ours. And why not?
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And what about Sarah? What's new now? What's on the horizon? John Lee Hooker record?
Well, my next release is going to be featuring John Lee Hooker playing the guitar on the song.
Wow. And that's amazing.
That's dropped in about 3 to 4 weeks. So what I've done is I've taken everything offline, and I'm
thanks, Adam. Yeah, I sussed it out already. Thanks.
Remixing and remastering all my music and putting it all back up online through my record label, and self-releasing a few things as well on Reverb Nation. Just so I've got some of the rough, more kind of authentic songs up there. My record label is...
let me zoom in for you. Here we go. There we go. sarahspicer.com, renownrecords.com. Wow. That's cool. Yeah.
So just check that out, and you'll see the releases as they come up. I've got 2 songs released up there already. One's called Jamie, and that's about my son, and the other one is just been dropped, and that's called I Wonder, which is a bit of a reflection song about the times of the world at the moment. And for the next couple of years, I think that's what I'll be doing, every 3 or 4 weeks, dropping a new track. Yeah,
Wow.
so I'm really excited. Everything's kind of all together and tidy, whereas my music used to be kind of all over the place and unfinished and needed reworking. So now I'm really getting stuck into it. So I'm excited about the future.
And
Yeah.
to just unpack a little bit about recording with such a legend, how does that model work? Do you like give tracer tracks and you email them onto the other side of the world and he just sits in his, John Lee Hooker sits in his studio? Oh, we've lost someone. There we go. They sit in their studio and does he just email you back the stem or, oh, she's back now?
No, because I recorded with John.
I tried to fix something and I failed.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Sorry,
I
Sarah.
recorded with John, obviously 30 years ago. But the last time I recorded with him was actually 3 months before he passed away.
Yeah,
And,
wow.
And the song was a beautiful song that we used to sing together. We were sitting on the couch and we're pretty good friends. I'd go over to his house and hang out and drive him around and take him to the bank and he could do deposits or whatever. Go and get a coffee and just muck around and sing and hum and play the guitar and things. But
Wow.
what was I saying? That he
Yeah, so you got the guitar parts.
Oh, right. So yeah, the last song I did with him was called "A Bit of Rain," and it was basically one of the last songs he sang before he passed away, and that was a duet with me. And I've kind of held on to that for many years, not really knowing what to do with it, and it needed to be treated with obviously a lot of respect and a lot of love, and find the right people that can help me release it the right way, also with respect to the family and everyone that is involved with the John Lee Hooker Foundation and things like that.
Wow.
And that has been a big learning curve for me. And the main thing was to get the song sounding as amazing as possible. So there's 3 tracks. One he's playing the guitar, one he's singing with me, and one it's like a country version of another song that he did when he was a lot younger.
Right.
So, and then I basically bought the tracks, the stems back to New Zealand, and we've remixed and arranged the music around him. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So was there a whole nother level of challenge or negotiation in relation to the fact that, you are working with an estate rather than the artist themselves? Because now, his copyright is owned by his, his estate.
Yeah. Well,
that's 70 years post-death and everything.
Yeah. Well, the song "A Little Bit of Rain" was not one of my songs. It was written by a guy called Fred Neal, who's also passed over. So that one is just you buy a license basically. Yeah. You buy a license and you just keep renewing that one. And also, I had to go and see some of the family members and pay respects in that way. And the other song that he played the guitar on, it was one of my songs. So he's basically a guest artist on that track.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing that. That's amazing. Oh, and then you got some love there from Veronica. Ebbett. Awesome privilege, Sarah. I have no doubt you're worthy and up to the task. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's been a big one, and I want to make sure I do it properly, not just blundering and
That's amazing. Okay, and then maybe if we go to Veronica. So where to now, Veronica? Are you working on some new arrangements and?
Yes, I'm considering joining a band, which I'm going to see tomorrow night.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I've learned one of their songs, original, and I'm going to see what happens.
Okay, cool.
I'm starting all over again, so I'm taking each day as it comes,
Okay. Okay. And with the composition side of things, do you make the music up first or do you actually write it? And do you use like software like Sibelius or MuseScore, or what kind of software? What does that look like?
Oh no, I don't use software. I do things from scratch.
What? You handwrite it? You
Yes.
handwrite it all?
Mm-hmm.
How long does that take? That must take forever.
Forever.
What if you make a mistake? Do you use pencil or do you use
Pencil.
Wow. I actually work with this.
To tell the truth, I prefer. I've got Sibelius. I do use Sibelius as well, but it's actually quite funny.
That's Tasmania temperature.
I'll tell you, yeah. Someone told me years ago that a composer, like for example Mozart and Beethoven, they didn't have Sibelius, right? They had to learn from hand how to write their music. So it got me thinking, why can't I do that? Why do I need technology just to write music? I can do it if I want to, but I would like to be more authentic. So when people read my music, they know it's my own handwriting, not some Sibelius font, if that's the right word to use.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just I just feel like if I want to really be a composer, I might as well learn how to write actually a score, and that's what I'm learning right now. I'm learning how to write a piano score at the moment.
Yeah,
And my idea of being a composer, for me personally, is I would want to be able, because I'm studying composition, I want to be able to write a score for saxophone.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool.
And the right nuances, not just going on Sibelius and treble clear, blah blah blah. I want to know how to write, because you know how a saxophone is it's a instrument that is
it's in E flat. Yeah.
It's a thank you. I was trying to find the word.
Transposing instrument. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most instruments are, and I would rather do that than just. You know, I know it sounds complicated, but I like the challenge of doing that.
Mm. Plus, also too.
Sorry, Doug. I was just going to say too. I think if you're classically trained or you've like learnt the note reading side of things, like for me with my shows, I handwrite all my charts. So and it's but it's just because I learned to
notes.
Notation. Yeah.
Notation.
But it depends what instrument it is. But then, you know, like back when I first started working in my 20s, like, you know, Sibelius and those sorts of programs weren't out yet, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that sounds really old, but, you know, mobile phones are only just being invented. So,
Sibelius is a new concept, I reckon.
Yeah. Like for me, I just like handwriting just seemed faster than finding my way around dropping.
Precisely.
I find the same thing with my students, like theory exams with the AMEB are now online. So when they do their theory exams, they don't need to learn how to write a treble clef or which way the stems go or whatever. They just drag and drop stuff. And I think there's a lot of valuable notation stuff that's being missed out on now. But, you know, some amazing musicians can't read music, and everyone has their own journey, I suppose.
Yeah. But for me, I've always thought of it this way. Like say for example, you compose something with Sibelius, right? Someone with a lot of money and can take you to court can say, "Oh, I've composed that. I use Sibelius and I compose." Well, what I'm trying to say is that
you're talking about evidence of actually original composition, right?
Yeah, I just feel like that's what I mean. If you can write your own score by hand, then you can photocopy it, and then you can post it to yourself, and it's actually now copyright as well. And also you can, you know, APRA and all that. But I'm just saying, but if it's actually with Sibelius, anyone can claim it, unless you know what I'm trying to. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, well, I feel like if you've got if it's authentic and it's by your hand, then no one can say that's not yours.
I do understand like what you're saying, but I went to jazz school. I did a jazz degree, and I did a big band arrangement of a song. And when I had to write every single piece, say 25-piece big band, that's like 25 charts. They're all in different keys. And if I wanted to put a Barry sax in there, I have to like rearrange it. It's a lot of work. So with using Sibelius, and then I'll go, oh, hang on. Then I have to change or adjust it for people's aptitude, if that makes sense. I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but I'm just saying it's like, oh, we've got beginners on Barry sax. So that means I have to go and change all the parts to make sure that they're all just, big whole notes or something like that. But
I can
anyway.
see your point there, yes. No, what you're saying is correct, but I'm just thinking as a, personal music, not
and it's done, yeah.
And
the other thing, maybe both of you should check out something called MuseScore. So I'm a music teacher by day. So I teach all my kids to score using something called MuseScore. And this is the tactile. This tactile blew my mind. So if your left hand is on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Your left hand can change the value of the notes. So you can go from semi-breve, minim, crotchet, semiquaver, hemi-demi, semiquaver, 30-second notes, whatever you want. But then the right hand touches the note. So I can go, so it's like texting, and I can score like really, really quick. And another little nerdy thing about I actually run a drum line. I want to suggest MuseScore. I was just going to suggest MuseScore. Awesome. It is awesome. Thanks, Adam. I run a drum line, and I get all my kids to remember all the music. No one's allowed to read. They have to remember it. Maybe I'm a bit tough on them. But anyway, I wrote out all the music. It was 24 sheets that I expected to memorize.
Well, obviously then you'll need Sibelius because it's 24 sheets. I'm just thinking of one small little...
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, anyway.
Maybe two or three sheets, not a...
Yeah, fair enough.
Obviously, I'll use Sibelius then, wouldn't I? I think it would be common sense.
And I think also, too, with scoring, I think it's a good thing because I'm still looking down the barrel of transcribing my record. So I've transcribed most of it. And all the solos, I play way too many notes, and it's a lot of work to try and figure out what you played. But... then you can maybe sell that. But anyway, moving on to maybe the last question, just wrapping the last question up. So thank you for that. That was really a good point about that, doing that yourself, Veronica. That's cool. So maybe what's or maybe I was kind of trying to think of another one, but usually this is a good one. So maybe like one tip, most important tip that you'd pass on to someone else who's actually, embarking on this journey of following their heart in the arts. There you go. I just made up a new slogan. Yeah. So what about there we go, Mrs. Hart is right here. Following Mrs. Hart in the arts. There you go. Queen of Hearts. Got heaps of jokes. Just let me go
on. Be true to your heart. Do what you love.
You've used heart. Okay.
Because the arts are a real job.
The arts are a real job. That is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's. I'm glad you said that, because as a musician in the army, where do they get sent? If they get sent to Afghanistan, a war zone. The musicians are there to play music to keep the mental health correct for everyone doing the job. It's a real thing. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
For the morale of the soldiers.
And on that basis, if you do a degree in whatever, particularly say science related or something like that, your knowledge has a finite value in time. And so doing a science degree, we'll stick with science. I'm going to do a science degree and then I'll do my music down the track, or I'll do my music after I graduate. Then you do your science degree, you go and dabble in music or have a go at a career in music, and then you want to go back to science. Your science knowledge is no longer necessarily completely current and up to date, and then you'll have to retrain to get that up to date. Do what you love, do it now, and then do that science degree when you're actually planning on using it. So if music is what you want to do, and I think I'm probably speaking to the young people that are trying to make decisions, about what to do post-schooling or whatever else. The thing that really astounded me, and my page, The Emerging Musician, was originally called Teen to Scene, and I changed it because I went to an APRA AMCOS event, and I thought I needed to speak to the young people who were looking to become a musician, only to discover that at this songwriters workshop, the first 5 people I spoke to were all about to release their first original piece of music. The youngest was 25 and the eldest was, around my age, so pushing 50.
26. Oh, right.
Yeah, mate. And so they, they'd all done what they felt they had to do. They did the degree or the job that their parents, encouraged them to go down that road, and they were doing now what their heart desires. Do you know what? I think do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Well said. Well said. And you got Katie's just said here, excellent advice. So thank you for that. So, and what about Sarah from New Zealand? And, having this experience working with, a superstar, a legend, actually. Yeah. What advice, from all the experience you've had, what advice would you pass on to the next generation of musician?
Stay healthy.
Good work.
Stay fit. You got to be healthy because you got to have a healthy mind, because you got a lot of work on your plate. Being an artist is not just singing and performing. It's management. You're an agent. You're a website designer. You're all those things. So you've just got to keep yourself really healthy and grounded, and work hard, but have fun and enjoy what you're doing. Don't take life too seriously.
That's the New Zealand way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about and any other advice about that? Maybe because when you said don't take life too seriously, and if you unpack that a little bit, I guess it's a work-life balance, right?
It's definitely a work-life balance, but for me, it's family first, always. Family first.
Right.
And music second, but follow your dreams and follow your heart. Be true to yourself, and because at the end of the day, you're all you've got, aren't you? So put your music first, put yourself first, but put your family first before everything else.
That's very well said. Thank you for that. And Veronica, what's some parting advice? Yes.
Everything that Sarah said, she said a few things that I was going to add. Yeah, you said most of the stuff that I wanted to say. But I think speaking, for myself, as an artist myself, I think being humble and always willing to learn from someone, even if they're not musicians, because you know how you would have say you would be singing somewhere and this old lady says, "Oh, could you sing it a bit softer?" I'm just sort of giving you adding that. Some people can usually help you out and give you some advice if you let them. The best listen to your audience. They're your fans, so they will actually tell you where you're going wrong, and just stay humble and not arrogant. Just be humble and try and learn as much as you can from everyone around you and other musicians, and that's what I would say. And Sarah said everything that I wanted to say, so I think I'll add that in.
Yeah, cool. All right, thank you for that.
I don't know what else to say, but that.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And Linnell, parting advice for the future generation, because I guess you have actually physically done this, handing on the torch to the next ABBA person.
I have. Look, in what Veronica was saying, being humble, I think is really important. I've worked with a lot of people in the industry, and there's divas out there. And
yes.
The fact is, when I
speak from experience dealing with them.
Like when I audition for my shows, not only am I auditioning on talent, I'm auditioning on personality, because when you think about it, these people are in the band room with you, they're rehearsing with you, they're on tour with you. You have to be able to get along. So egos need to be left at the door. For the young developing musician, I would just say master your craft as best as you can while you're young. Be the best that you can be. Constantly find ways to improve yourself. Like even now, you know, like the beautiful thing about the music industry is there's so many different areas of music that you can, as you progress through the next, you know, decades and decades, you can explore, you know, and like I did solo work for years, and then all of a sudden I got into tribute show land, and then I went into that, and then I was playing keyboards again, and then I thought, well, hey, my guitar teacher just quit. I can play a bit of guitar. I'll learn more guitar, you know, and now I'm teaching beginner guitar students. Like there's so many beautiful areas of music that you can branch into, but master your craft, be true to yourself, and just master your craft as best as you can. And like now, you know, jazz is always a genre that I've just, because I was classically trained, you just rely on that music and perfecting the notes, and now jazz scares the living daylights out of me because I've got to improvise, and I'm like, oh, hang on, I haven't rehearsed this. Oh my God, I got to do a solo, you know, like, so improvisation is now an area that I'm exploring a lot more now that I've got time. And I think with my students, one of the biggest things I'm saying to them is do it when you love it, like do it because you love it. And for me, like whether it doesn't matter if they're a concert pianist or they achieve their next exam or whatever, so long as I instill a love of music in my students, that to me is really important. So I guess just doing it because you love it. And one of my most beautiful quotes, and this is the one that I always go back to, is just perform from the heart, like sing from the heart. Whitney Houston's mum said that to her, sing from the heart. She's my favorite singer, and you know, oh my God. I guess from a business point of view is just learning the business side of things as well. So whether it's a business degree or not, like you know, there's a lot of struggling artists out there. If you can be a good business person as well and be smart. And for me, yeah, it's not always about the dollar. It's about looking after each other in the industry, the music industry, even though there's a lot of us in it. In Brisbane especially, it's still quite a small industry. Everybody knows everybody, and you know, don't burn bridges. Just, you know, it's the basic concepts of being a good person. Be kind, be compassionate, you know, like understanding, that sort of thing, and work together in the industry with your fellow musicians, the agents, the venues, you know, look after each other, because it is a beautiful industry. And when you know, there are people in the industry that aren't great. And but I guess it's just one of the things for me that's been really hard over the years is not getting sucked into the politics. You know, you get up on stage on the weekends, it feels great, you're up there, you're singing, people love you, but then you go back to Monday and you're answering the emails and people want this and they want that and the other, this now. You know, you've got to be able to withdraw from, you know, we are dealing with an industry where you need to have a degree of self-confidence and possibly an ego, I suppose, to get up and do a good job on stage. Sometimes that does creep into the business side of things, and you look, you've just got to learn how to manage it, but be patient and just love what you do. Like really, that's all I can say.
I like what you said there about, you know, finding your worth, and also I want to say something about testing an artist's influence. I've been following a guy called Dan Pena. I'm not sure if any of you heard about him, but he has this exercise. People pay him lots of money, and they go to CEOs go to his course, and he makes grown men cry because he says, without calling your parents, I want you to raise $20,000. And, you know, a lot of them can't do it. And then so he put this out there. As an artist, if you believe in your art, raise $2,000 right now via the phone. Anyway, it's not about the money. It's a test of the integrity of your relationships. Because if you actually share your art with high integrity with someone, they will love what you are doing and they would have no problem putting the finance into it. Anyway, it was really, really eye-opening for me to see a model that simple to acid test how you put your art out, if that makes sense. I hope this is making sense to everybody. You know, so it was just an eye-opener of how good is the relationships that I actually have, you know, or how good is the relationships everyone has, you know, because I'm not sure I could raise 20K with 5 phone calls,
when it comes down to it, my mum used to always say to me, look, just be nice. And if you can't say anything nice, then don't say anything at all. And that just travels into every area of my life,
That's a good point, yeah.
And I just always say to my band members at the end of the gig, everyone in that audience should want to jump up on stage and give you a hug. And if they don't, then, you haven't done your job. But that's just ABBA because everyone loves ABBA. So I hope.
Or it might be COVID.
If they're not, they're going to.
That's a good point. So is there any other closing comments? Does anyone want to say anything in the next 60 seconds?
Just thanks, Doug. Love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah. And lovely to meet you ladies too. It was really nice to be here with you.
And thank you everyone for having a think tank, because I think this is really beneficial in this space, because being a musician, it's unfolding every single day. Something new is changing, right?
Yeah.
Well, please stay. You've learned a bit of okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you.
I've got to say something. I've learned so much from each and every one of you, and I want to thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. You too.
I enjoy listening to each and every one of you. You guys have enlightened me a lot.
Yeah, cool. Get on the Muse score.
Yeah. I just want to. Yeah, I'm just really. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you all.
And now we can be lifelong friends on Facey.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Well, please stay.
Cool.
Please stay on. Here we go. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Veronica.
And, you're welcome. I should be thanking you guys.
Well, please stay on the line. Don't hang up, and I will just be with you in 20 seconds. So here we go.
All right.
And so thank you very much for watching tonight. And that was another wealthy experience of milking all the brains of these awesome people around the world, actually, because we had someone on. Well, we had Sarah on from New Zealand. So please make sure you like and subscribe wherever that is. And all the artists that have been on tonight, make sure you follow all their socials, like and subscribe, and just get involved and support the arts, because the arts needs your help like right now. And we have someone, Tasmania, saying thank you. I'll see you again next time. Or right now, because I haven't hit the button. There we go.